Coffee, please, sir, come on. I need some more coffee.
Would you like some more coffee?
Coffee, please, Tom Hanks, give me some coffee.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video.
From his basic moves to his diet and more, join me as I talk about how Tom Holland got in shape to play Spider-Man. 7. The Marvel Method. Before we dive right into Tom Holland's workouts and such, there is a very real thing that needs to be discussed in regards to the actors and even the actresses who have played or are playing various roles in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mainly, they need to be ripped. You know, muscle-wise. If you look at any of the main characters from these films, from Robert Downey Jr. to Chris Evans, to Chris Hemsworth, to Chris Pratt, what's with all the Chris? You'll notice that they are jacked to high heaven, mainly because they need to portray super characters, and most times have to show off their bodies via shirtless scenes or have short-sleeved shirts that reveal their bulging muscles. And when these men and women like Scarlett Johansson, Evangeline Lilly, Brie Larson, etc. are brought into the Marvel fold, they're told to undertake the Marvel Method. Usually, the studio will give them the names of people who will help them get into the best shape of their lives. Chris Pratt, for example, had to go from a chubby guy on Parks and Rec to the ripped Star-Lord, and that doesn't happen overnight. An upcoming star from the Marvel movie The Eternals, Kumail Nanjiani, posted a pic of him being ripped. By his admittance, this was his first time he was this jacked, and noted that it took a year of trainers and nutritionists that were paid for by Marvel to get him in this kind of shape. He also admitted that there was no way he would have gotten this jacked on his own, because he didn't have the resources, the time, or the energy. Which is great because it means the Marvel Method works. But as Chris Hemsworth, Thor, has noted, after doing some of his Marvel movies, he had to take a break to slim down and get back to a more normal body type, because he couldn't handle the upkeep it takes to maintain that kind of body. So let this be a warning to you. You can look like a Marvel hero, but it's going to take a lot out of you, and it'll take a while to get that ripped physique, and a lot more time to keep it. 6. Dancing. Alright, now let's get to Tom Holland.
Someone is talking too loudly.
Yeah.
Or someone's playing music. Oh, yeah.
Who arguably had one of the hardest regimens that he needed to go through, because Spider-Man isn't just a strong character, he's a nimble one. Unlike someone like Tony Stark or Thor who can just bulldoze through things, Spider-Man is known for being agile and moving around the battlefield in order to get out of the way of attacks. But the young actor did have an ace up his sleeve, almost literally right off the bat. Tom Holland was in great shape long before landing the role of Spider-Man, and that's largely thanks to his background as a dancer. Holland started taking hip-hop lessons at Lynn Page's Nifty Feet Dance School in Wimbledon, England, when he was just a kid, showing up for class every Saturday. In 2006, when Holland was just 10, a talent scout went to one of his performances and said Holland should try out for the play Billy Elliot the Musical. It was a suggestion that would change the kid's life. But before Holland could land the title role, he'd have to do some pretty intensive ballet training. He studied the art for 2 years, auditioning for the play 8 times along the way. Talking to Interview, Holland explained he was initially too small for the role of Billy, but thanks to the hours he spent practicing ballet, he got slightly bigger every time he showed up for an audition. Eventually, he snagged the lead role and debuted as Billy in September 2008. He danced on stage for almost 2 years, performing crazy moves throughout his run, like walking up a wall and performing a backwards flip, which sounds exactly like something Peter Parker might do. And, in fact, it was something that he did over and over again, and because he had done training like this for years, he basically had it in muscle memory. And when talking about this part of his life, he admitted that having this ballet training made him not just stronger, but better for certain roles, including getting Spider-Man. 5. Gymnastics. As we just outlined, when it comes to being Spider-Man, you need to be quick and nimble and athletic. Thankfully, Holland had some of that down, but ballet wasn't going to be enough to do everything, so he had to learn to do gymnastics as well in order to get everything just right. Thankfully, he had that done in part already and was already in love with the various forms of the style. If you visit Holland's Instagram page, you'll find countless videos of this guy flipping through the air like some sort of English ninja. He bounces off trampolines, soars through backyards, and wows everyone at the gym. In 2015, the actor was even gifted an air track mat, see the video above, which Holland describes as a huge bouncy castle that you can bounce around in your garden. Holland is also into free running, a form of parkour that emphasizes creative expression. In other words, it involves a lot of acrobatics, not to mention some semi-dangerous stunts. Speaking with Metro, Holland once explained, "Me and my mates go free running all the time. I've probably jumped 4 meters, 13 feet, onto grass and 2 meters, 6.5 feet, between buildings. While some of this may not sound impressive, it really is. Parkour freerunners are known to be very gifted athletically, which is why many of them go into Ninja Warrior to compete, because their skills perfectly match that style of competition. And because of his background in doing parkour gymnastics, he was ready to be Spider-Man. Fun fact, when auditioning for the role of Spidey, Tom Holland had to perform certain scenes as the character, and he decided to try and impress the head honchos of Marvel by doing a somersault into every scene he did. It worked. 4. Circuit training.
Hey, how you doing? Don't worry about it, I got you.
Yes! Yes!
Sadly for Holland, even with all the skills that he had had before getting to be Spider-Man, he had to do even more training to refine what he could do and be even more gifted. Because apparently being a skilled ballet dancer, parkour freerunner, and gymnast isn't enough for Marvel. Seriously though, he had to go through what is known as circuit training. That's where you perform multiple exercises like burpees or bicep curling, one after another, with almost no rest, if any, in between stations. According to WebMD, you generally want to perform 8 to 10 activities, mixing both aerobic and muscle strengthening exercises. And in total, you want the workout to last from 20 to 30 minutes. What's the goal of this? Endurance. You can perform all the fancy moves that you want, but if you can't last more than 5 minutes before needing to catch your breath, then your endurance is crap, and you need to improve it. And whether you realize it or not, shooting on set, especially doing action scenes, can take a lot out of you. So doing this kind of training helps big time. 3. Boxing. So, you have the moves. You have the endurance. But can you throw a punch? You might think it's as simple as lunging out with your fist, but there is a method to this madness, and if you don't do it right, you're going to look like an idiot. And that won't do for Marvel. Thankfully for all involved, Holland loves boxing. Based on his Instagram posts, he does a lot of his training at Miguel's boxing gym in Brixton, and Church Street Boxing in New York. Both are pretty impressive institutions. GQ named Miguel's one of the best boxing gyms in London, and Church Street has worked with some incredibly high-caliber fighters, like boxing legends Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, not to mention UFC star Chris Weidman. As a result, Holland totally knows what he's doing when he pulls on a pair of gloves. The actor stays fit and ready to fight by beating on a heavy bag and working pads with stuntman Holland Diaz. He also practices on a double-end bag for accuracy and rhythm. At this point, you might be thinking, what else could they possibly need from Holland in order to be Spider-Man? More than you think. We still got a little bit to go. 2. Muscle building. Remember the Marvel method? Well, Spider-Man did have to go through that himself, albeit in a lesser way than Chris Evans or Hemsworth or Pratt. After all, he only had one shirtless scene in Homecoming. To get in shape, Holland has exercised his arms and shoulders with every move imaginable, from chin-ups to side lateral raises. Hoping to build biceps and improve his cardio, he also borrowed Thor's hammer to beat on some massive tires. Holland also impressed his Instagram followers with this incredible move that probably left his shoulders and legs in serious pain.
I tell you, I did it once and I didn't go to the toilet for 2 days.
But this is what a lot of people try and do in order to gain serious muscles. Because what a lot of people forget is the fact that muscles are literally all over your body, and certain workouts only train some of them. By doing all kinds of workouts, you're ensuring that every single muscle is at the top of its game and won't pull out a surprise for you when the time comes to use them. Because when you strain a muscle that hasn't been worked out in a while, it hurts. A lot. So yeah, Holland going all out and doing all those workouts to get into shape, that takes dedication. 1. Diet. Working out isn't enough to get the job done.
Like, I remember eating a steak and then finishing and being like, oh, no more. And then just another plate of food. I'm like, really? I eat that and then another plate of food, just constantly eating.
You need to make sure you're putting in the right things for your body, because you can be burning thousands of calories a day, but if you're not putting in the nutrition, it doesn't work out the way you want it to. So, Holland teamed up with trainer George Ashwell to make sure he was putting the work in with his meals as well as with his muscles. Rather than prescribing meal plans, Ashwell instead opted to work with what Holland was previously eating and adjust it as needed. This meant making sure that each meal contained 2 fist-sized portions of protein, 2 fists of carbs, and 2 fists of greens. Holland was eating half of that before they started training, but he needed to up the amount in order to bulk up properly. He tried to stick with lean proteins and good carbs when possible. And that's just one layer of it, I'm sure. Again, when it comes to the Marvel method, they make sure you're ripped in all the ways that matter. So, what do you think? What do you think of the methods that Tom Holland went to in order to get ripped for being Spider-Man? Do you think you could have done what he did? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.